Hi guys, you are welcome back again to SCJ Fashion YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to cut and sew this off-shoulder blouse. It is easy and beginner friendly. If you are new to my channel, you are welcome. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Turn on the notification bell icon to get notified when I post a new video. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for keeping this channel going. I appreciate you guys. Now, without further ado, let's get this video started. To make this blouse, you'll be needing the following items. You will need a fabric. For this video, I'm working with African print fabric and it's less than 1.5 yards. Then you need a pattern paper. For drafting a pattern, you need a scissors, measuring tape, marking tube, ruler and pattern master. Okay? And you'll be needing the following body measurement. You will need your shoulder to chest line, under bust line, bust point, waistline and shoulder to hip line, which is your shoulder to the full length you are working with. You will also be needing the following round body circumference, which is bust circumference, waist circumference, hip circumference, and of course the across chest circumference. Okay, so get all the measurement and let's continue. Now, after getting your measurements, we are going to start the drafting of this pattern. To draft this pattern, we are going to first of all mark the straight line which will serve as our starting line. And to do that, I'm going to measure 1 inch from the edge of my fabric downward. Then after measuring the 1 inch, I'm going to draw a straight line there. That line I'm going to draw there will serve as our starting line. Okay, so do yours that way and let's continue. Okay, so now after drawing that line, we are going to take the other vertical measurement. First, we are going to start with the full length of the top. So because this is an off shoulder, I'm going to minus 5.5 inches. Okay, so that 5.5 inches I'm going to minus. I'll place it on that first starting line I first draw. Then I'm going to from there measure the full length of this top, which is 22 inches, and this 22 inches include the hemming allowance. Okay, so after marking the 22 inches, I'm going to draw a straight line there. Then once I'm done drawing that straight line, I'm going to take the other vertical measurement. So after drawing that line, and the next thing is to take the shoulder to bust point line. Remember, we are minusing 5.5 inches, so I'm still going to place it on the starting line and measure my bust point line. Then I'll measure my under bust line there and my waistline. Okay, so after marking all the points, I'm going to do the same thing at the other edge, and after marking it, I'm going to draw a straight line there. So once I'm done drawing the straight line, I'm going to label them.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun.
Next, from this my bust line, I'm going to mark 2 inches upward, which will serve as my armhole line. Okay, and once I'm done marking it, I'm going to connect the points to form a straight line. Okay, and after connecting it, I'm going to label it my chest line. So guys, after marking all our vertical lines, the next step is to input our dart. Now, from the center of my pattern paper on the bust line, I'm going to mark half of my nipple to nipple measurement. And the nipple to nipple measurement I'm working with is 8 inches. So half of 8 inches is 4 inches. So I'll mark 4 inches on the bust point line, and I'll mark it on the waistline, under bust, and the full length of this top. And once I'm done marking it, I'll connect it with a straight ruler. Okay, so once I'm done connecting it, I will go over to the neckline. I'll mark the same 4 inches there, and after marking it, I'll still connect it to meet the other line that I draw. Okay, so Now our dart line is formed. Next thing is to input the dart. So on the bust line, bust point, now I'm going to come down by 1 inch and go up by 1 inch. This is to avoid friction on the bust point. Okay, so from my under bust, I'm going to mark 1 inch on both sides. Then I'll also mark it on my waistline, the same 1 inch. I'll go to the hip line, I'll come up by 2 inches. Then I'll go to the other side, I'll mark the same 1 inches, 1 inches on my waistline, and I'll mark it on my under bust line too, 1 inches. Then once I'm done marking it, I'm going to use a ruler and connect it this way, like you see me do in this video.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young.
Next, on the neckline, I'm going to come to the dart line and mark 1/2 inch on both sides of the dart line. So after marking the 1.5 inch on both sides, I'm just going to go in and connect my dart line to that 1 inch I come up to. Okay, then once I'm done with the dart line, the next step is to input our body circumferences. So on the neckline, I'm going to mark 1/2 of my chest line, which is 7.5 inches minus 2 inches. Then I have 5.5 inches. So I'm going to mark 5.5 inches there, plus this 1 inch I use for the dart, and after marking it, I'm going to add 1.5 inches for my sewing allowance. Okay, next step, I'm going to come to my bust line. Then I'll mark, that is the armhole line, I'll mark 1/4 of my bust measurement there, and the bust I'm working with is 9.5 inches. 1/4 of my bust measurement is 9.5 inches. Then I'll measure that dart there, I'll include it and also add 1.5 inches for my sewing allowance. Then I'll come to my bust line. No, I'm going to come to my waistline and mark my waist, 1/4 of my waist measurement, which is 8.5 inches. Then I'll measure the dart I include there, I'll add it back. So after adding it back, then I'll add my sewing allowance of 1 inch. Okay, then once I'm done with that, I'll come to the hip line. Then I'll measure my 1/4 of my hip measurement plus the sewing allowance, and once I'm done with that, I'm going to connect all my markings like so. Okay,
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemical.
now the next step is to curve the hemline. No, this part is optional. If you want, you can leave yours this way. Okay, so I'm going to come to this line here, then I'll mark 2.5 inches. Then I'll connect it to meet the that line like so. So once I'm done connecting it, then I'm going to curve this line. So if you don't have a long curve ruler, you can use this method I'm using here, and you are good to go. Okay, just watch what I'm doing in this video. It's very easy to curve. You can see what I'm doing. Next, after curving it, we are going to eliminate that straight line. We don't need it anymore. So now, once you're done with that, the next step is to shape our neckline. Okay, so we are working with a sweetheart neckline. So on my neckline, I'm going to measure how deep I want my neck to be, so how deep I want to expose. Okay, so me, I'm coming down by 2 inches, so I'm going to mark 2 inches there. Then I'll use a French curve ruler to curve it to meet the dart line, like you see me do in this video. So once I'm done curving it, our front pattern is ready now. So you can see our front pattern is ready. The next thing is to cut it out now. Okay, guys, now that we are done with the front pattern, go to the comment section and ask your question now. Okay, then like this video, smash the like button if you are enjoying this video. Share the video so others will see it and watch. Subscribe if you are yet to do so. Then let's continue.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take.
Now we are done with the front pattern, and as you can see, it is looking nice and beautiful, right? So I also went ahead to label it so to avoid confusion. Do yours that way, okay? So now we are going to cut the back pattern on a fresh pattern paper, okay? So guys, here is my back pattern. As you can see, I have marked all the vertical line. So this is my zipper allowance, and it is 1.5 inches. Then I'm going to mark it as my center back, okay? So I will use the same vertical measurement I use for the front to mark here. Because it's an off shoulder, I minus 5.5 inches. Then from there I'll mark 9 inches, which is my chest line, then my waistline, and the full length of this top. The next step is to take our back dart. So from the chest line, I'm going to mark 4 inches, okay? 4 inches, which is half of my nipple to nipple measurement, like I did for the front. I'm going to mark it on the chest line, the waistline, the neckline, and also the full length of this top. Once I'm done marking it, I'm going to connect my markings with a straight ruler.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire.
Next, I'll come to the waistline, then I'll mark 1/2 inch on both sides. That will serve as my back dart, okay? So once I'm done marking the 1/2 inch on both sides, then I'll come to the waistline and mark the same 1/2 inch on both sides of the line there. Then once I'm done marking it, I'll come to the chest line, then I'll come down by 1 inch, okay? I'll come down by 1 inch there. Then once I'm done marking the 1 inch, I'm going to connect my markings.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire.
So guys, that's all for the dart. Next, we are going to input our body circumference, okay? So on the neckline, I'm going to mark 5.5 inches. That is the width of my neckline. Then I'll mark 1/2 inches for joining allowance. Then on the chest line, I'm going to mark 1/4 of my bust circumference there. Then I'll add 1.5 inches for sewing allowance. Next step, I'll come to the waistline and mark 1/4 of my waist circumference there. Then I'll include that 1 inch that I took there. Then I'll add it back. After adding it back, I'm going to add 1.5 inches for sewing allowance, okay? And once that is done, I'll come to the hip line and mark 1/4 of my upper hip there. Then after marking it, I'm going to add back the 1 inch that I took. Then after that, I'll add 1.5 inches sewing allowance. And once that is done, I'm going to shape the side like so. And also I'm going to curve the armhole. But before curving the armhole, I'm going to add 1/2 inches for sewing allowance, okay? So if you're not adding sewing allowance to your pattern, exclude this part. You can add it to your material while cutting it. So after covering the armhole, our pattern is almost ready, okay? So the next step is to shape the neckline. So guys, I'm going to come to the center back neckline here. Then I'm going to come down by 2 inches, and then I will curve the neckline. If you want, you can leave your own straight like that, okay? After covering it, I'm going to extend the neckline to the zipper side, okay? Then once I'm done extending it, the next step is to remove the zipper bulge, okay? So to do that, I'm going to extend the waistline, and from there I'll mark 1/2 inches inward. After marking the 1/2 inch inward, I'm going to connect the line to meet the neckline. From there, I'll connect it to meet the neckline and also connect to meet the length of the top.
hearts beat to the city streets, we began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings.
The next step is to curve the hemline like we did to the front pattern. We're going to do the same thing here. Then once that is done, this pattern is ready, we are going to cut it out. Okay, so guys, this is it. We are done with the drafting of this pattern, so we are going to use it now to cut on our actual fabric. Okay, so I'll do that and come and show you guys. I'm done cutting it out on my fabric. As you can see, this is the back and this is the front. Next, I will take it to my sewing machine and stitch it down by half of an inch. Okay, I'll do the same thing to the back. I'll stitch it down by half of an inch. Then I'll do the same thing to the line. I'll stitch it down by half of an inch. And once I'm done, I'm going to come back and show you guys the next step to take. Okay, so guys, I'm done stitching them as you can see in the video. Then I also went ahead and pinned the neckline down together with the lining. Okay, so the next step now is to take it to my sewing machine and stitch down the neckline by half of an inch. Okay, then I'll also do the same thing to the side. Then I'll also stitch down the down part with half of an inch. Then once I'm done, I'm going to turn it from the armhole. Then I'll repeat the same thing to the back of this top. I will stitch the neckline by half of an inch, the side and the zip allowance by half of an inch, and the down part by half of an inch. So guys, I'm done stitching it. As you can see in the video, I also went ahead and iron it out. Okay, next step now is to place the back together, right sides facing each other. Then after placing it together, the next step is to stitch down the zipper allowance by 1 inch, the remaining 1 inch. Okay, I'm going to stitch it down. Then after stitching it, you are going to sew the side together, okay, with the 1 inch. Remember that we use half inch to turn this fabric, so we are going to use the remaining 1 inch to join the side. And once that is done, we are going to fix the sleeve and the zip. Then we'll come back and show you the finished look. So guys, this is the finished look of this top. You can see it's looking very nice and beautiful, right? Okay, if you have any question, leave it in the comment section. Then like this video if you are yet to do so, subscribe to the channel and share this video to others so that they will see it and watch it. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Until then, bye for now.